Hello friends, today I am going to deliver lecture on the topic of Stackelberg model of duopoly. So this is a model of duopoly means here only two players are allowed. Okay. So in this game, two firms are in competition in a market, and both are trying to find out the optimal value of his production. Okay, and their optimal value of production is highly affected by the production of the other player. Okay, so here I am considering that we have two firms, let's say the P1 and the P2. P1 and P2 are the two players who are competing with each other in a market for the production of a product. Okay, now I am considering that P1 is producing a Q1 quantity and P2 is producing Q2 quantity. Okay, and both are trying to find out their optimal value of production at which he can maximize his profit. Now one more thing here, the price of the product is following the inverse demand function. So this is the inverse demand function. On the x-axis we have price, and on the y-axis we have the quantity of production. Okay, and since it is an inverse demand function, so if we increase the quantity of the production, then definitely the price of the product will decrease. And here we have a threshold level alpha. This can be considered as a demand of a product. Okay, so if we surpass the quantity beyond this alpha, then the price of the product will become 0. Okay, so this is how we can determine the value of a price. So we can determine the price of a product. So you can see here, if we increase the quantity of production, then price will decrease, and if we decrease the quantity of production, then price will increase, right? So I'm assuming that the total production of a product is Q1 plus Q2. Why Q1 plus Q2? Because this is a production of player 1 and this is a production of player 2. So both are producing some quantity, and if we take the summation of it, then we will get the total production. Okay, so if this total production surpass this limit of alpha, then the price of the product will become 0. But what if the total production is below the alpha? Then we can easily determine the price by taking the difference of alpha and Q total. Okay, so price is what here? The price is alpha minus Q total. You can see here, so I am assuming that this is a quantity of production, Q total. Okay, now if we increase this quantity, then price will decrease. Okay, and if we increase the quantity beyond the alpha, then the price will become 0. Okay, if we decrease that Q total, then the price will increase. Okay, so this is the basis for determining the price of a product. But we don't have any exact function for determining a price, but this can be used as a raw function by the help of which we can determine the price. So alpha minus Q total is the basis for determining the price. But this is the case when alpha minus Q total is the price of the product, and this is the case when total production is less than alpha. Okay, means this Q total is less than alpha, then we can easily determine the price. But what would happen if that Q total is surpass the alpha? Then the price of the product will become 0, right? So if Q total is greater than alpha, then price of the product will become 0. Okay, now one more thing need to consider here, the cost of the product. So C here is considering as the cost of unit production, means for the price of the cost of the production of one unit is C. C is the cost of unit production, and it is same for both the firms. Okay, so both the firms is having the same cost for a unit production. Okay, now this Stackelberg model of duopoly is an extensive game. Extensive game means where the players take their actions in a sequential order. Okay, now which firm will play first? The firm P1 will take the action first. And what is the action here? The action is a decision of production, how much a firm will produce. Okay, so I am considering that Q1 is the production of P1. So in his first chance, the player 1 will produce the Q1 quantity. Okay, and this quantity should be what? This is the quantity at which the player P1 will get the maximum profit. Means what? That Q1 is the best action of player 1 when he is considering that the other player is producing 0. Why 0? Because at the initial we have only one player, that is P1, and he is the only player in the market right now. So other firm production is 0 right now. Okay, so this is the best action, that Q1 is the best action when other firm is producing 0. Okay, now after determining the value of Q1, who will take the action next? The P2, the player P2 will take the action. Action will be what? Action is a decision of production. I am considering that Q2 is the quantity of production from the side of player 2, P2, and this is what? This is the best action for player 2 when he is considering that the other player, that is Q1, is producing, P1 is producing Q1. Okay, because when the player 2 take action, then at that point, at that moment of time, we have two players, P1 and P2. Okay, and P2 best action when he is considering that the player 1 is producing Q1, and it will be equal to what? Q2. Okay, now again who will get the chance? Again in the next iteration, P1 will again get the chance, and again he will determine the value of Q1, optimal value of Q1, at which he will get the maximum profit. And this Q1 is will be equal to what? The best action for player 1 when he is considering that the other player is producing what? Q2, because currently this is the production of P2, right? And the player 1 need to consider that production, and here that production need to be considered by the P2. Okay, and we will repeat this cycle again and again until we reach a point at which the production value does not change. Okay, and we repeat this process again and again and again until the values get converged. Okay, now so the value of production is totally based on the profit of a player, right? So first we need to find out the profit function for the players. So here I am considering that the pi 1 is the profit function for player 1 when the production of player 1 is Q1 and the production of player 2 is Q2. So this pi 1 is the profit function that determines the profit for both the for a player. Okay, so pi 1 is a profit function for player 1. Okay, now what is the profit here? We know the profit formula is what? The selling price of production minus cost price of the production, right? So this is the profit. We know the selling price of the product is what? Production is what? We know the player 1 is producing Q1 quantity, and we know the market price of 1 unit product, right? As per this price function, we can easily determine the value of price. The value of price is what? Alpha minus Q total, and we know that Q total is what? Q1 plus Q2. So what we can write it as? We can write it as alpha minus Q1 minus Q2. So this is price. This is the price of 1 unit. Okay, and we will put this value here. Q1 is the production and the price of 1 unit. Okay, price of 1 unit minus cost price of the production is what? The production multiply with cost of 1 unit. Okay, so what is the price of 1 unit here? The Q1 multiply with alpha minus Q1 minus Q2. Okay, and what is the cost of one unit product? The cost of 1 unit product is C, right? In the first slide we have taken the assumption that C is the cost of 1 unit production. Okay, and we can write it as Q1 alpha minus Q1 minus Q2 minus C, right? This is the profit of player 1. Now we need to maximize the profit, right? We need to maximize the profit when the other player is producing 0. As you can see here in this slide, first we need to find out the value of Q1 in the first iteration, right? In the first iteration we need to determine the value of Q1, and at this point the production of player 2 is what? 0. Okay, the production of player 2 is 0 here, and we need to determine the value of Q1. Okay, so here first we determine the profit when player 2 is producing 0. What will be the value here? We need to put 0 here in place of Q2. What we will get? We will get Q1 alpha minus Q1 minus C. This is the profit of the player 1 when the other firm is producing 0. Okay, now how can we maximize this profit? To maximize this profit we need to take the derivative of, sorry, this is Q1. We need to take the derivation of this function with respect to Q1, and what we will get? We will get Q1 alpha minus Q1 square minus Q1 C. Now we take the derivative of it, we will get alpha minus 2Q1 minus C, and we will equate this with 0, and we will get Q1 is half of alpha minus C, right? So this is the production for the player 1 in his first chance when the player 2 is producing 0. So this is what actually, this is the best action for player 1 when the other firm is producing 0, and it is equal to Q1, and it is equal to half of alpha minus C. Okay, now in the next chance who will take the action? In the next turn the P2 will take the action, and the action of P2 is what? Q2, and Q2 is equal to what? The best action for player 2 when he is considering that the production of other player, that is the player 1, is Q1. Okay, now first we calculate the best action for player 1 when we are considering that the other player is producing Q1. Okay, sorry, when other firm is producing Q2. So in this case profit will be what? The profit will be pi 1 Q1 comma Q2, and we know the equation is what? The Q1 alpha minus C minus Q1 minus Q2. Okay, we already have calculated in the previous slides. Okay, this is the profit function when the player production P1 production is Q1 and player 2 production is Q2. Now we will maximize it, and we take the derivation of the phi 1 with respect to Q1, and we will get what? Okay, first I open this bracket, so we will get Q1 alpha minus Q1 C minus Q1 square minus Q2 Q1. And we take the derivative of it with respect to Q1. We will get alpha minus C minus 2Q1 minus Q2, and we will equate to 0. And what we will get? We will get Q1 we will get Q1 is alpha minus C minus Q2 half. So this is the value of Q1 when the other firm is producing Q2, and we already have calculated the value of Q1 when other firm is producing 0, right? Now you all must be thinking, why I have calculated this? I have just calculated this to find out the value of B2Q1. By using this as an analogy, we can easily determine the value of B2Q1. So what will be the value of B2Q1? The value of B2Q1, that is Q2 equal to half of alpha minus C minus Q1. So this is the best action for player 2, when he is considering that the player 1 is producing Q1 quantity. So here, okay, in the first iteration here we have got half of alpha minus C, and here we have got half of alpha minus C minus Q1. Okay. Now who will take the action next? The P1 again will take the action. Okay. And we will try to find out the optimal value of Q1. Okay. That is V1 Q2. This time we will consider the best action. This time we will consider the production of player 2 is Q2. Okay. Now we already have the profit function for player 1 when player 1 is producing Q1 and player 2 is producing Q2. And what is the formula here? The Q1 alpha minus C minus Q1 minus Q2. Okay. Now this time we know the value of Q2 is what? In the previous slide we already have calculated the value of Q2, which is half of alpha minus C minus Q1. Now we will put this value of Q2 here and we will determine the profit here. So profit will be what? Q1 alpha minus C minus Q1 half of alpha minus C minus Q1. So we will get here this minus half of alpha C minus Q1, we will get half of alpha minus C minus Q1 into Q1, and we will get, okay, sorry, okay, we open this bracket and we will get alpha Q1 minus CQ1 and Q1 square. Okay, and we will take the derivative of it with respect to Q1, and what we will get here? We will get alpha minus C minus 2Q1 by 2 equal to 0. Now this 2, now we will get 2Q1 is equal to alpha minus C, and we will get Q1 is equal to half of alpha minus C. So in his second chance, the player 1 is producing half of alpha minus C. So you can see here at this point the player 1 production is half of alpha minus C. Okay, so you can see in his first chance he has produced half of alpha minus C, and in his second chance again he is producing the same. Means what? In the next chance the P2 will produce the same, and the production of P2 will be what? Half of alpha minus C minus Q1. And you can see here both the firms are not changing their decisions, right? If both the firms are not changing their decision, means what? This is an equilibrium condition. And what is the equilibrium condition here? Equilibrium here is the firm 1 will produce Q1, and which is equal to what? Half of alpha minus C. And firm 2 will produce half of alpha minus C minus Q1. So this is the equilibrium of this Stackelberg model of duopoly. So this is the end of the lecture. Thank you.